There was a moment when I was a kid, and for 2-3 months, none of my classmates wanted to actually have something to do with me. They didn't want to play, they didn't want to chat, they didn't want me to hang out with them. My teacher at that time, she had probably like 20 years of experience. She told my grandmother, who went pick me up, that my teacher had never seen a group of kids like to be so closely united to reject a person, and that person just happened to be me. I never actually knew what was going on. I can very vividly remember the sensation of that winter when no one was around me. That didn't matter how much I tried to connect, how much I tried to reach out and to just play. I was a kid, 7 years old, 6, 8, and just feeling this rejection over and over again got me to a point where I wish that I had never been born back then. And for a kid to go through that experience, it's really hard. And this video has the intention of sharing with you everything that I have learned, reflected, experienced about what loneliness is. Let's start with the anatomy of loneliness. This triangle that you can see right here has 3 different layers, and these are layers that we can see, that we can find related to loneliness. What we have at the peak is related with the outer world, and what we have down at the bottom is related with the inner world. So this first layer number 1, is related with the physical part of loneliness. And to guide us, I have here some definitions of loneliness. Alone is when nobody is around me. Alone is when nobody makes physical contact with me. So if you're going through something and you would like to do something about this part of loneliness, reach out. Go with a person that you know cares for you, that you feel you can be open and vulnerable to, and ask for help. Ask for companionship. I know it takes a lot of courage. I know that it's not something that, especially as adults, we like to go out and ask for. And something that happened to me in many different occasions, which probably has also happened to you, was that in my case, I was in high school and there was this person that I felt like really, really attracted to. But there were a lot of different situations and circumstances that were happening at that moment that I just could not actually understand what was going on. And at that time, I talked with my friends and I told them, this is what is happening, this is what I feel, this is what I think. I don't know what that person is actually going through, but I know it's something that's tough, that's hard, and I don't know what to do. So they were in this first layer there with me present. They heard me, but they were not actually able to get me. And that takes me to the next layer, the second layer, the mental level of loneliness. And the definitions that we have in this level are: alone is when nobody understands me. Alone is when no one agrees with the way I think about the world. If there is something, let's say, romantic, go and dive into relationships. If it is something spiritual, go and find meaning. Could be in science, could be in religion, could be in spirituality. Do something. There is going to be people who have gone through similar experiences, no matter how crazy that experience might be to you. There's people out there who have experienced it, who can somehow guide you. What I've found throughout this time is that most of this guidance and this companionship that I was looking for did not come from people who were physically present there with me. It came from books, from authors who experienced something in the past and they wrote it. It came at that timing from videos that I was starting to see online that helped me do this mental exploration and make sense just of myself, of the world, of the situation, and in this experience of the girl that I liked, in everything that was happening in her life and how all of that affected me. Around when I was 20 years old, I probably had one of the experiences that has been the most challenging experience when it comes to loneliness that I have ever had in my life. I was really sick. I was in my 3rd week of being sick. I could not talk. I could not see anyone. I did not have any energy to watch something and be entertained. And there came this one night when I just could not stop thinking about what I have done in life, what I had not done in life, what I wanted from life that I actually had, what I didn't have, which was like most of what I was thinking about. I felt like so lost. Physically, there was no one there with me, like in that particular night. Mentally, I did not find any book, any video, any person, any idea that helped me bring peace into my inner world. In the feeling, the sensation that I had of I'm alone, like in this big vast world, there is just no one person right now in this moment that could actually understand me, was so devastating to me. It was so profound and so strong that I could not handle it. And I remember crying for 2-3 hours until I just fell asleep. I was crying like on and on, like trying to make more things fit, and then I just gave up. But I came to a realization that it is possible to make yourself lonely. It is possible to block all the connections and the actions other people take to connect, because you are afraid of being lonely. You are afraid of being hurt. You are afraid of being vulnerable and open. And at that time, in that moment, like something clicked, something changed in me, and I said, the worst thing of this situation is that this is something that I'm doing to myself. But in that moment, that's when I understood that it doesn't matter how much people can mentally understand, how much people can, like, let's say, hug me or be present physically there with me. There needs to be something more, something deeper, something that is primer. I don't know if that's a word, but the primal, something that is more primal to us. And that's the third layer of loneliness, the layer of emotional loneliness. And here we have two more definitions. Alone is when no one knows the real me. Alone is when I do not feel cared for, nourished, nor hurt by anyone. And that is why I say that it is more primal, because when we're dealing with feelings, it is a really long process, many times years of learning how to manage, how to handle, and most importantly, how to understand everything that it is happening there with feelings, because feelings, they don't sit down and give you words. They work in a very different way. That you can have hot and cold together, blending, something feeling a little bit more of the other, and it's like a play, it's like a movie, it's like a dance, and you need to learn how to speak the language. And it is also primal in the way of the second definition. You're going to feel lonely when the things that you need, that are very relevant for you and for you to be alive, that you need from other people, when they don't give you that, when you need that, in this case can be also from society, which is other people, they don't provide you with that. So you get angry, and you can go into this dynamic that I was in, of saying loneliness, connection, love, worthiness. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? But I had that experience, very negative experience with these people, or with this romantic partner, that it just hurt so much, and I don't want to feel so much pain again, so I'm not going to allow anyone in. But at the same time, I need it. It's really hard. There's a lot that goes into this. And if you stay long enough there in that situation, what is going to happen is that these three layers start to work in tandem in a negative way to create a fourth layer of loneliness, which is existential loneliness, which you can also call spiritual loneliness, because what happens here is that you start to see, perceive, believe, take it as a truth, that the world, that the existence, that the universe is this way, this negative way, where things just hurt, things are difficult, people always lie, you cannot actually be open and vulnerable to people because they are going to take advantage of you, and you just go down this spiral of negativity That, of course, you can have experiences to back those ideas, feelings, beliefs up, but doesn't mean that's a complete total truth. What you have here in this spiritual loneliness, it is a loss of meaning in life. That is why I have defined loneliness here as alone is being empty on the inside. Alone is knowing that there is no meaning to being alive. In other words, life is meaningless. Alone is the awareness that no matter what you do, you are essentially on your own in life. This layer of loneliness, it is the deepest one, and it is also the one that has the most impact, but yet it is the one that is the most difficult to actually realize that you're experiencing and to know something that you can do about it. This is where spirituality and religions come into place, and part of the reason why, especially in this case, religions are so needed, are so powerful, and are so important, not just in our lives, but throughout human history, because that's what ties everything. If you think, if you believe, if you feel that life doesn't have any meaning, that life is deprived of meaning, and you feel bad about it, what are you supposed to do? If you wake up every morning and you say, like, I hate this, I don't want to do this anymore, it's such a hassle, it is so painful to be here, what are you supposed to do? Are you going to continue to want to experience this? Of course not. And this is where I like to look at the paradox of loneliness. To illustrate this, imagine that this blue canvas is space, and you are a consciousness sphere which is there. So what happens is you're there and you say, I'm going to move up, and you try to move up, but there is nothing but space. You don't feel the wind. You don't have any visual reference like stars. There is no friction. There is no nothing. There is just you in this infinite space. How could you know? How could you experience something when there is nothing but space? And of course, you. That sphere of consciousness is just not possible. It's not possible. This is the core of the idea, the core of the paradox of loneliness. You need to have another thing to have a relationship. If there is something else, if there is another sphere of consciousness represented by this black point, in the moment that this second element is present, now you can have an interaction with that consciousness. Now you can have an experience of you're getting close, you're getting far, but not before. And the only way for you to feel lonely, the only way for you to actually have the perception, the idea that you are lonely, it is if you have a connection to something else, to someone else. If you were the only being in existence, the only being in space, you could not have that idea. You could not possibly think about loneliness. Loneliness is not a lack of connection. It is a negative interpretation of the connection. So what does this mean? In practical terms, what does this mean? Is that everything that we have talked about here in this anatomy of loneliness relies in the idea that you, me, anyone, and everyone is connected. What we are doing is we are using that connection that we already have, that we always have had, and that we will always have in a way that doesn't work for us, that doesn't allow us to experience life, to live life in a meaningful way. All of the experiences that I had about being lonely brought me to this final realization. And I know it sounds funny. Life does not have meaning, doesn't have built-in meaning. It is you, my friend, it is me, the one who are going to give it meaning. I know that sometimes it feels like there is no way, that everything is just breaking down, it is being torn into thousands, a million pieces, that you feel so empty, so bad, so painful, so lonely, so disregarded, so worthless, so many more things. Those are just connections. Those are just interactions, perspectives that you have of life, of yourself, of the world. And as any perspective, as any connection, you can change it. And that's the beauty of understanding the anatomy of loneliness. Life is in your hands. How do you prefer to live life? I'm not saying that there are not wrongdoings, that there are not injustices happening in the world, that there are many negative things happening. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that ultimately, what you do with your life is only in your hands. Are you going to use this ability that you have, that I have, that everyone has, of assigning meaning to existence, to life, to make a life that you don't feel like living? Or are you going to take ownership, responsibility? You're going to use your ability to respond, to act, to provide it with positive meaning, to make your life better. So you can actually understand what you are doing with the connection, to become aware of the forces that are unconsciously guiding your life, to start using that to be who you are. Because only when you become more of who you truly are, who you prefer to be, then will you be able to actually be open to say, this is me, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. I am sharing what I feel, think, and believe, my truth, with the world. Maybe you're going to agree with me, maybe you're not going to agree with me, and that is completely fine. And that is why I'm making this video in this channel. I know how hard it is to feel lost in life, and for that, watch this video right here so you can understand better how it is. And if you are struggling with getting to know yourself more, watch this video right here where I share with you what shadow work is.